Hello guys, welcome back. Sethonan here. This is the Daily Grind and this is Saint Seiya Awakening. I'm using the Chinese server to showcase one of the characters that is the featured banner in the Singapore version this week along with Wyvern Radamantis. But that guy already has an in-depth review and the time has come for me to analyze Pandora, one of the Hades lackeys that is featured prominently in the Saint Seiya series during the last saga. We are approaching Infernum, and as such is appropriate that these characters are released. Also, in the coming week, I'm going to showcase the two remaining characters from the first wave. Back when Singapore version launched, we were up until Divine Iki and Evil Saga, so I'm going to review them just to prepare you to the future to know if these characters are worth your summoning stars, and all of these characters are. However, Pandora sees limited play. She's mostly useful for certain PvP combinations, certain lineups that you are unlikely to face yet until Divine Iki is released. But in the meantime, she is very helpful to tackle those Saint Legend tones that you might not yet be able to defeat. Even with the pretty generous, for some reason the Singapore version is way easier than the Chinese one. And this is more evident in the Saint Seiya tomes. I'm also going to be making a series of me returning to the game after leaving for over a month, and so far it's been a very great experience. Even though I'm not going to fully return to the Singapore version, I'm going to showcase what it's like to come back with no summoning stars, not spending money in the game, if it is possible at all to be competitive. After missing several banners, I don't have Divine Pegasus, I don't have Arayashiki, I don't have Poseidon, I missed Hades and the first Radamantis banner. So let's begin. Let's start by analyzing her stat card. And we can see she's very weak, she's very squishy, so you have to give her proper protection. However, she has one of the highest cosmic attack ratings in the game, and it's very easy to shoot over 10,000 points now that the 8 cent system is available in the Singapore version, and more, even more now that the collector, I think it's called the Pavilion over there, the Adventure Pavilion, gives very heavy bonuses for PvE and PvP, so it's very easy to shoot over 10,000 points of attack. Then her defenses, both her defenses are pretty high. Not the best in the game, but she's no slouch. So consider when building a Pandora to have a healthy mix of both physic and cosmic, depending on what you're facing on Galaxy. I know for a fact that Divine Cloth Pegasus is a direct counter to Pandora, and that was one of the reasons that made me leave the Singapore version in the first place, because once they messed up the release order, having the counter to several characters before those other characters were available, I think was a very bad move on GT Arcade's place. But anyways, that's what it is. She has, of course, no physical attack rating, and her speed is decent, but not the fastest in the game. So, if you build a fast Pandora, she has some pretty crazy shenanigans with a couple of characters. So, we'll be touching that as I release more in-depth reviews of the remaining characters in the roster. I'm going to start speeding up on that, trying to keep up with daily videos for characters. I have my hands full, that's why I haven't uploaded in a while. I have fixed my Wi-Fi problems, I have internet again, internet access, so we'll be getting up to speed. So her skills She has a pretty decent basic, no special effect, but it's a pretty heavy cosmic attack considering that you're going to be building Pandora with at least 8, 9,000, maybe more attack power. That's a pretty heavy chunk, even if she doesn't have any special effect attached to her basic. Now, the next skill is a basic heal. So it is very powerful. Single target, that's the downside, so to speak, because you're not going to be using this except in very, very heavy emergencies. You can leave this at rank 1. It's 300% of your cosmic rating plus whatever healing substat you can muster. So I have seen some Pandoras heal above 40,000, 50,000 health points with this move, but like I said before, she's not going to be really using this. Now we go into her Requiem, or Sonata, I think it's called in the Singapore version, and this is an active skill that has no cost. It costs no energy to cast, but has no immediate effect. Now, Pandora's functionality requires that you are facing lineups that rely heavily on debuffs. That is, the Ice Boys that were popular at once, maybe Shakas with the Accelerator, or even the Silence portion of the Treasure of Heaven. It's important. But any kind of debuff that has a positive equivalent has a chance of being converted into a positive buff. For example, the Accelerator that gives you speed down. When this skill is in effect, your character is surrounded by some sort of energy to indicate that the skill is active. If they get a debuff while they have the energy surrounding them, that debuff is going to be turned into the positive counterpart. So a speed down turns into a speed up. A hit chance, hit stat down becomes hit chance up, so on and so forth. But this doesn't work on permanent kind of debuffs. For example, the Pegasus Comet Fist doesn't get turned into anything. Petrification, restriction, being sent to another dimension is treated separately. It cannot be cleansed. It cannot be turned into a positive. At the skill level 1, this field only lasts 1 turn and only has an 80% chance of proccing. This is one skill that you want to have to at least level 4 to ensure that every debuff that your team gets turned into a positive buff and lasts for 2 turns at the skill level 4. However, if you want to push for it, it's very, very worth it if you rise this skill to level 5. So the field is active for 3 turns because the skill itself has a cooldown of 4 turns. And this is important. Now, last but not least is her passive. Her passive, whenever a debuff gets turned into a buff, she passively heals the unit with the least health on your team, automatically at no cost. This is what makes Pandora somewhat broken, because whenever the energy field turns the debuff into a buff and procs the heal, the cooldown of the previous skill gets reduced by 1. So it's very, very easy to Pandora, once she has both of these skills, the Requiem and her passive at level 5, to cast the Requiem over and over and over every round. Remember that this is healing at no cost. Even though the heal is reduced, it is still a very, very heavy portion of the health points. She can make some combinations against certain lineups completely immortal, and that's why it is important that you protect your Pandora if you are going to fill them. Like all units released after Nebula Shone, she is very blue book heavy and you have to invest accordingly, but the results are amazing. When she is going against some of the bosses, for example on the ruins where you get bleeds, where you get slowdowns or energy cost up, she can reverse these debuffs and at the same time heal. I cannot stress this enough, at no cost at all. So it's a very, very important unit to have in your lineups. She is not that much useful on heavy PvP, like I mentioned before. It's just against certain characters in certain compositions. But she is mostly here, like she came into the meta, then went out again once Divine Cloth Pegasus arrived. But now that Divine Cloth Iki is into the game, and one of the best Divine Cloth Iki builds involve using Blood Elves, she is back again. Like, she's a hard counter to Divine Cloth Iki in that regard. Of course, only if Divine Cloth Iki has some sort of debuff, but it's very worthy to consider that. Now, let's go into her Cosmos setup. The game advises in the Singapore version a very different thing, but I prefer to go for a healing setup with Laurel instead of Dragon Tooth. However, if you don't plan on bringing some sort of taunter or control to your own team, then it is advisable to at least equip Hephaestus armor or the Dragon Tooth. That's this Cosmos, because if she gets crit, she gets some shield back, and Dragon Tooth because that prevents your character from being one-shot. Though I have seen a few Pandoras using Soap Berry with some success, especially versus lineups that feature little to no debuffs, because once her turn is down, she can heal somebody, and if she is below 45% health, then she's going to get a self-heal of 20% thanks to Soap Berry, and Soap Berry also gives a lot of HP that Pandora desperately needs. She is very, very squishy in that regard. And I'm using defensive spikes because that gives cosmic damage reduction, and of course trying to get her cosmic attack as high as possible is also very advisable. So hence rosaries and of course healing books to ensure that you get at least a buff of 10% health, and with Laurel you get some speed that she also needs. If you want to build her for speed, look for the speed substat in your red and yellow Cosmos, and of course the central one. That said, what's missing? Oh, of course, her 8 cents stars, just to know what you're up against. Her alpha, that's with temple, praying temple level 2, that's cosmic damage and cosmic defense. Her beta star, that's 2 skills at level 2. I never really got to use my Pandora, so I never really built her. But if I get lucky on the Singapore version, I might go for full level 80 setup. This is health that she needs and some stat resistance that of course you want to look for every Cosmos that you can equip, at least one stat resist substat, so she doesn't get petrified or silenced, because even if the Requiem has no cost, you still have to use that, and it's not a basic skill, so it can be stopped by a silence. Then her Gamma 8 cents star, that's her level 80 when she's full level, full rebirth, more cosmic attack and some healing, and her Delta is common to everybody, that's friendship level 3, more HP and cosmic and physical resistance. So she doesn't proc very well with my build, and it's very, very rare in the Chinese version to run into a debuff composition. If it doesn't have God Clodiki, everybody usually goes for just direct damage, so Pandora sees very little use. But when you go against Divine Iki with Blood Elf, then you start seeing some crazy damage. For example, there's Pandora, so it is easier to showcase her in reverse, going against her. So, for example, you know that Phoenix puts Firebird puts burning stacks, and Io can cast poison and stuff like that. So let's see if that works. And also, I'm gonna start talking about the Awakened Armor system that is available now on the Chinese server, because several characters that fell out of the meta, that's her Requiem in action. So you can see everybody has stuff over there. Let's do something crazy and try to take out Mu as fast as possible. And hope that the Phoenix doesn't kill me. That's Dragon Tooth in action. In Katia has gotten her latest buff is very, very recent in the Chinese version, so nobody knows if she is really viable again, or well, if she is viable now, nobody knows for sure yet. That's Pandora healing herself. There's a debuff on June. Let's see how Pandora reacts. Well, I'm not really running a debuff composition, so let's try something else. I know my Phoenix has Blood Elf, so let's check if I don't one-shot everybody over there. So let's try this again. And where is it? There you go. And this guy usually needs Jamian until you reach 15% leech on Divine Iki. That's Athena, the goddess. So let's check this out. Let's give them a round or two so you can see Pandora's passive in action. That starts turning into defense buffs as soon as she gets the chance to cast her passive. There you go. There it is. That's the Requiem, and she should start turning those debuffs into buffs very soon. There you go. Some event is starting now. That's the off heel. And that was a rather weak Pandora, but she can be a real pain in the ass. And goodbye, Iki. It was nice knowing you. So, there you go. So, I'm glad to be back making videos for the Daily Grind, for the English channel. Well, I never tried to keep it a secret. I just wanted to keep the channel separate, but I also have a Spanish channel covering the game. So if you want to see some gameplay, I'm already on Twitch and I'm going to start broadcasting streams. So I have the sad need to ask for a little help from you guys. So starting in November, the videos are going to feature the link to my Patreon and also to the Twitch channel. So if you feel like it's not required, really, it's just that I want to get a nice gaming PC and a better internet connection so I can give you better quality videos without the background noise, better editing, and more interesting matches. I'm going to go back to broadcast the finals for Ymir, like this week's iOS and QQ and WeChat servers. Each one got their champion. So I'm gonna be posting the reviews for that so you get to know what the meta looks like in the future. And maybe broadcast live streams of the Ymir finals next month if we reach the donation goal. But that is not really required. It's only if you feel like helping the channel. Regardless, I'm going to keep making videos and uploading them and giving you the latest information on this very wonderful game, even if I don't agree with GT Arcade business practices. So, that said, you're a wonderful audience, and even though I was away for almost a month, the channel is alive and it keeps growing, which kind of surprised me. I was still going to return, regardless, again, either way, because I know that you guys enjoy the content, so I'm gonna keep making content, and the donations is just something to help the channel, because I'm already making YouTube money, but not that much that I can really buy a gaming PC from one month to the other. With that said, thank you again for your preference. You're a wonderful audience. You're wonderful fans. I have been keeping in touch with some of you. And just leave a like if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, because many good things are coming this way this week. And click on that little bell so you get a notification when I upload new material. And you already know the drill. See you again. See you next time. In the meantime, keep grinding on.